So, Angie, did the leader, your leader and Susan Lee, fall into the hole of falling into the rud of it all? Now, she's walked it back 24 hours later, but did she end up tripping over a trap that many people had laid, but yesterday was the day just to tick and flick, right?
Well, it's very tempting and probably only on your show to sort of say K-Rudd, K-Dud. But, you know, notwithstanding it took him a year to get a meeting. I mean, come on. When we had Joe Hockey going to the US, I remember, I'm a good friend of Joe's. In fact, Joe's been one of my friends and mentors for many years. And he was out playing golf with Trump and having cups of tea with Hillary Clinton before either of them were in the White House, building this rapport and having this relationship on the golf course with who's now President Trump again, Trump point two. But, you know, the point is it shouldn't be taking a whole year to get a meeting in the White House. And it was probably an embarrassing moment for Kevin Rudd, no doubt. But look, when our Prime Minister goes overseas, we want our Prime Minister to be successful. And the critical minerals deal that he struck is, of course, I wouldn't use the word triumphant either, Paul, but certainly it's good news for our national security in Australia and for our future, and particularly with the submarines. Deterrence is the best measure.
Yeah, and if anyone thinks that wasn't the term that was used, check the same tapes that I can check, because I'll gladly play tomorrow if you would like me to correct the record. In the meantime, you know, Rudd, sort of the Dennis the Menace of international politics, right, Kevin? Like, just enough, go away. So, can we just get to this game? Stephen, a lot of people have been very critical minerals, very important, very critical minerals, right? I think 80% of people in the real world have no idea what they are, right? They actually don't know what... They go, OK, I get it, it's a good thing. If it buggers up China, good, I'm in the front row. Can you give me the idea, right? Because theoretically all minerals are limited, right, and difficult to find. What is a critical mineral? I know, and I'm going to cop it for asking the question, but I'm going to ask it on behalf of the kids in the back row.
Yeah. No, look, firstly, most of them are almost unpronounceable tongue twisters.
Right, OK.
But critical minerals are almost microscopic. You find them inside iron ore. They're not just lying around, they're inside other deposits. So they're hard to find and hard to identify. So a lot of them, so terbium, there's one I can pronounce, is used in things like naval sonar, in sensors. So to give you an idea already, if you don't have these things, your sonars on your subs don't work. OK. Some of the others are used for magnets. Now, I don't know how this happened. The F-35, you know, our main fighter plane, one of the US's main fighter planes, they rely on this magnet. And this magnet is produced, believe it or not, in China. One tiny piece that makes a magnet. So you can see that when China decided to turn off the tap, they cause havoc to the AI industry, to the tech industry, to medical research. All of these critical minerals are used in the most incredible parts of society. And as you said, I think you're being generous when you say 80%. I'd say 99.9% of Australians, you know, who don't work in this field.
Yeah, again, I'm
no, it's not like
pants. Is that people know mining?
I just had to Google, just to be clear, I just had to Google some of these facts so I can actually answer your question. I'm not pretending I know anything about
the Shadow Environment Minister can do so without the Google, right? Because, look, I know there's other issues in environment to discuss here, but yeah. They're the isms. What did you say? They're the what?
The EMs, RUMs, the lithiums of this world. And
there you go.
Look, the things that go into, you know, mobile phone screens, and obviously Stephen mentioned their defence capability. Those critical minerals are important to build the defence capabilities that we buy from the US as well for the ADF. So very important for that. Look, I've just come back from Yandi up in Western Australia there to BHP's open cut iron ore mine, and to see the amount of iron ore that we export that goes overseas to South Korea, to China, to other countries in the region to build steel, but to also build those capabilities that critical minerals are used for. And so iron ore, I would consider that to be pretty critical. I'm sure Roger Cook thinks it's critical because about $2 billion worth of worth of royalties going to Western Australia alone.
Well, correct, but as I pointed out before, you know, again, you know, each way elbow is what I would say, foot in both camps, but okay, you know, climate change and mining, there's the crossover here. At some point it'll be noticed by the rest of the media, but again, rose petals for triumph, rose petals for triumph. All right, but Angie, we see that Murray Watt as Environment Minister, what was nature positive legislation now perhaps getting a little bit of a rebadge, he decided to give the coalition a little bit of a whack, even though he's asking for your votes to help get a version of this through the parliament. Roll what the charming bloke had to say.
We've always said that we're open to passing this bill with the support of either the Coalition or the Greens, or preferably both. I'm not entering these negotiations with a view that we want to do it with one side or the other. I think both the Coalition and the Greens paid a heavy price at the last federal election for being seen by the Australian public to be blocking changes, blocking legislation, obstructing progress, and I'd like to think that they take that into account and don't want to see a repeat of that when we come to tabling this bill.
Settle down. You paid off billions of dollars of student debt. There was an awful lot of other little Trumpian running against Trump, and then there was interest rate change. Settle down. But, Angie, the question is, people like Matt Canavan, your colleague in the opposition, has said things like nature positive, don't go anywhere near it. Is this watered down nature positive? Is this different to nature positive? What the heck is being negotiated, and how close are you to a yes or a no?
Yeah. Well, Murray's just released some draft legislation, and it's been rebadged as net gain, and that is the detail that we're looking through at the moment. But roughly speaking, it's talking about, I suppose, when you're building a development, you've got to put more in than you take out when it comes to matters of national environmental significance, known as MNES. So it's complicated. We entered in good faith negotiations with the government, and my feelings are hurt on what Murray just said. No sooks here, right, Paul? No sooks.
Done. Come on, toughen up.
Absolutely. But certainly we're looking through the detail. We've got we think about maybe half or 70% of the legislation, a draft now that we're looking through. The devil is always in the detail, and there are many things in that draft legislation that I haven't discussed with Murray. And so working through all of those, I've had 4 meetings with him. I had a meeting in Western Australia with the West Australian Premier's office while I was there as well, to talk to them about their concerns, and of course stakeholders, environmental stakeholders as well. So it's going to be difficult to strike a balance, and it's going to be difficult to strike a deal.
All right, excellent. Watch this space. Thank you so much. Always here to help is Stephen. I'm pleased that he too was Googling. And again, if you're one of the people who's glad that we had that conversation, send me the damn email, okay? Paul@skynews.com.au. Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Stephen. We'll talk to you very, very soon.